So, hi everyone. I am Margaret Irvin, and I'm a professor in the English department and primarily teach first year composition. And I'm going to share with you a in-process writing assignment that I did for the first time in the fall that worked really well and engaged my writing 120 and 123 students and got them to write pretty good essays because they were quite invested. And to start out in introducing this, it did have an AI component to it. I do not ask, or rather, I should say, I ask my students not to write with AI. So I personally, and people have a lot of different positions on how good AI is as a writing tool, but my feeling is that it's good for my students who are first years. It's good at the very end of the writing process. Why not take it through a grammar check? But I don't encourage it for brainstorming. I think they need to use their own brains for brainstorming. I don't encourage it for organization. I think they need to use their own brains for organization. And I certainly don't advocate having them draft with AI. Um, in order to understand where I'm coming from with this assignment, I want to talk a little bit about the goals of the first year writing program. And one of our goals is to introduce students to the concept of genre so that they understand that writing is not a one size fits all situation and that they need to be aware of their audience, they need to be aware of the purpose of the writing. And as AI comes into play, it's even more important than ever that they become good consumers of text, good readers of text, so that they can really see the differences among different types of writing and purposes. So I introduce them to letters to the editor, of which they've usually never heard of before. I introduce them to open letters and how they can be quite powerful. I introduce them to um, a a form that NPR used, that's like a personal essay, and I want them to be able to access many examples of the writing that I ask them to do. In the past, I've had them do a rhetorical analysis of a popular culture text, and this year what I did was I introduced them to rhetorical analysis by asking them to compare a song by their favorite artist with a song that they got AI to generate in the style of their favorite artist. So they had these two texts to look at together, their favorite artist and the AI generated song. They loved it. They were really into it because as readers, which is what I would describe, music lyrics as a text. I would describe a YouTube video as a text. So in English, we talk about text very broadly, and we talk about reading very broadly. And so they are excellent readers of their favorite artists. They get into it. They know the style of the songs, they have their favorite songs, they know the development of that artist over time. And so what we'll see in the example that I'm going to give, the assignment, and then a couple of examples of what the students produced as well, we'll see that that knowledge, which I would describe as genre knowledge, really came into play and allowed them to do pretty good rhetorical analysis. And they came away feeling like they were smarter than ChatGPT, which I thought was great because they are. So anyway, I'm going to do a screen share of the assignment first, and then I'm going to do a screen share of a couple of writing samples. So give me just a moment to cue that up. I hope. Okay, hold on. Oh, I know what happened. Sorry. Okay. Sorry for the delay here. All right. So this is my AI unit overview, and the way this occurs in nature for the students is it's on the D2L site in content. So they have their unit overview. And so what I do, these are actually, this is anticipating next year that I'll do this again in the fall. Um, and I will share these two samples with you. So one is titled AI versus Taylor Swift, and the other one is titled Frankensongs. And so I will ask the students to read these samples of rhetorical analysis and then together discuss, because both of them are written about Taylor Swift. Um, we'll discuss what knowledge of Taylor Swift's songwriting went into the essays and what additional analysis they might suggest that the writers add. So I'm anticipating even better rhetorical analysis examples in the fall because they'll be building off of work that students did this past fall. So I have goals for the unit, identifying a musical artist you enjoy and know well and sharing their music with the class, which is fun. Although I will say some of them gave me, Billy Joel because they didn't want to subject me to their musical taste. Um, so then I asked them to have an AI generate a song in the style of that artist. Um, and then this is the important part. So this is um, the framework for doing the analysis. Compile a list of songwriting techniques and style related specifically to the musical artist. This is a change for next fall. I asked them to do a rhetorical analysis using ethos, pathos, and logos. And I didn't, and we kind of backed off of that because those categories for analysis were not intuitive enough for them, and they had actually really good intuitive knowledge of the rhetorical situation for songwriting, and we just needed to kind of pull that out and develop terms. So that's what we'll do. So then applying your knowledge of the techniques and style of your artist to their work and to the AI output, thus creating a rhetorical analysis essay. So I mentioned to them in the essay linked above on Taylor Swift, the author is able to tell the difference between a real Taylor Swift song and an AI generated Taylor Swift song because the author is familiar with Swift's storytelling style and can immediately sense the storytelling aspect of the AI generated song is missing something, and that the details generated by the AI are recognizably not Taylor Swift's style. Um, so I also point out to them a little test that I did of what AI can do and not do. So I generated lyrics in ChatGPT, prompting it to write a song in the style of Taylor Swift. And I then input the AI generated Taylor Swift song. So I use ChatGPT AI, and then I input the ChatGPT output into Gemini. And I said, hey, Gemini, was this AI or human generated, which is something that a lot of professors would like to ask AI to do. Um, and this is what it said. This is the output from Gemini. While an AI can generate text, it's difficult to definitively say whether a specific piece of text was written by an AI or a human. I think that is true. Both humans and AIs can produce creative and emotional writing. However, the provided text exhibits qualities that are often associated with human written poetry: emotional depth, metaphorical language, and poetic structure. But then it gives examples of metaphorical language: embers lost to the night. I don't think that's a metaphor. And smoldering pyre, also not a metaphor. So I just point out to them, chat gp AI is, and pardon the language, but I also give them an essay in my class that talks about bullshit as a term of art, and it gives a definition of what bullshit is. So AI is a great bullshit generator. Um, so then the next thing I do is I take the song that ChatGPT created back into ChatGPT and say, hey, ChatGPT, did you write this? Another thing that professors would like to be able to ask. And it says, no, I did not write the song lyrics you provided. I am a language model, and while I can generate text, I cannot create original creative works like songs. Okay, so we see, you know, some of the problems. Um, and I think that with the time that we have left, sorry, I don't mean to make people dizzy with that. I will stop sharing and move over to this one of the essays I think we have time for that the student generated. Which one should I pick? All right. All right. So here we have the essay titled AI versus Taylor Swift, and I'll just note some things as I scan through it. So the first thing is that this writer understands language that is, specialized language for talking about music. So they understand discography. Um, they understand different genres of music. And the fact that Taylor Swift kind of has experimented with genres and breaking genres and bending genres. Um, they also talk about the development of Taylor Swift's music over time, and they also are a little sensitive about being a Swiftie. So this common hatred for Taylor's music is often rooted from the overplaying of some of Taylor's older hit songs. So now I would I kind of instruct students use the last name of the artist, but it's okay. That's not a major thing. Um, so what this writer does next is describes how they asked the AI to generate a song like the 2020 Cowboy Like Me from the Folklore album. And one of the things that the writer finds out from looking carefully at the two different songs, the AI output, I'm going to call it, and actual Swift, and here she's referring to Swift song, is that Swift self-references other songs, and fans of Taylor Swift talk about these things as Easter eggs. So someone who's really familiar with Swift can find the Easter eggs in the text, and looking at the AI output can see that the output does not contain these self-referential pieces that Swift is known for. Um, and so here it is, the Easter eggs for the diehard fans. And then goes on to talk about the differences in storytelling between the ChatGPT lyrics and the Swift song. Um, when looking at the lyrics created by ChatGPT, AI was able to imitate the generic plot of the lyrics, a Western love story. However, the lyrics didn't create much storytelling as they focus heavily on rhyming. By the end of the song, the female character created by Swift is reflecting on the love that blossomed between her and the cowboy, and then quotes that, compares that to the ChatGPT lyric. Um, and what I requested students do is to provide me with the Taylor Swift lyric or whatever the original lyric was, and then the ChatGPT output. So that's included. And you can see some of the rhyming that the author of this essay pointed out. So you caught me in a smoky bar, said you liked my broken guitar. both of us were just playing the part, two rogues for the wild heart, broken guitar, So anyway, um, that's kind of an overview of the assignment. I felt one of the things that I said to the students was, just as you understand your favorite artist, I am a connoisseur of first year writing. I love what you write and what you have to say. I'm very familiar with first year writing, and it's very disappointing and sad to me to see AI output handed in place of your actual ideas and passions. And another thing that I do is I am really like, my turnaround time for responding to student writing has become, I mean, I'm just so desperate to keep them from relying on AI. So I spend a lot of time responding to student writing so that they know I understand their ideas, and their style, what they care about, and I start to have a dialogue with them in short writing assignments where I use the comment function that's built into D2L, and the way they see it on their end is when they click on uh, looking at the feedback, they see a little paragraph from me, and then they see their text. Or I think they see the paragraph from me in the rubric in their text. I can't remember exactly how it goes, but my paragraph kind of pops up at the top, and we start to have a conversation that way. And it really helps. I mean, it helps me get to know them. It's improved my teaching. Um, Not saying I was ever lazy as a professor, but it's made me, the need to really show the students that I know them has made me more prompt in my uh, responses, and asking also for shorter writing from them. So that's pretty much it. So do folks have questions? I've got Amy Anderson here from my department, and Perry, I'm not sure what department you're in.
I'm in the business school.
Oh,
So
okay, great.
that was helpful. Just if you could send those examples, that would be great.
Yes, I can. I created a folder in Google. So what's the best way? Should I put it in the chat? Because people who are looking at this later won't get that. But what do you think,
Our
Naomi?
emails that you can send us the link through there. Is that easier? Or
Well, why don't I
if you give me the
do
photo
it?
link, I can download them then. That's cool. That'll work
Yeah.
too.
Okay. Let's see.
And we will be posting this on our website in the blog. We can include the folder link with this recording as well.
Oh, okay.
Thank you for
Perfect.
sharing that, Margaret.
Yes, absolutely. Um, let's get
Can I
that
say,
link quickly. Yeah,
Margaret,
please.
this is such a cool assignment. So like I'm teaching, I've got 3 sections of WRT 200 this semester,
Mhm.
and like
Yeah.
I haven't taught it in I think 7 years, and
Oh,
everything
wow.
I used to teach, they could run through ChatGPT. So I'm like, yeah, I like had to rebuild the class from scratch.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I like your idea of the long form comparison between their writing
Mhm.
and ChatGPT, or I guess between
Yeah.
yeah, like between the songs and then putting what they know up against ChatGPT. Like
Yeah.
we did something really short at the beginning of the semester where I asked them to write for a couple minutes about what sunlight feels like. And then, then we asked ChatGPT and they compared. Um,
Yeah.
but that only worked for just a real short thing. But I like the way that this is it's a longer drawn out essay.
Yeah.
It gives you the chance, yeah, like it gives you the chance to teach all those things about structuring the essay, but
Yeah.
still letting them play around with ChatGPT. So like, thank you for sharing this. It's really cool.
I'm glad you liked it.
Me too.
Yeah. I think it really helped me with the overall goal of talking about genre as well. And the rhetorical analysis, ethos, pathos, logos analysis that I used to do, where they would analyze one song or one lyric wasn't working anyway. So this works much better to kind of induce the categories for looking at the songwriting, because they have a lot of vocabulary to talk about songwriting.
There are so
Some
many,
of
there are so many things. Oh, sorry, Amy, did I cut you off? You sure? There's so many things I love about this assignment. I love how you were so intentional about thinking about the pedagogical goals. I loved how you were so intentional about thinking, like in the pedagogical goals, you were thinking about what do I want them to know that is related to the content, but also what do I want them to think about in relation to ChatGPT and the work that they do. I think that was a really wonderful way of doing that. One question I have is, at what point in the semester do you start working with the students on this? When do you assign it to them? When do they submit it and so forth?
This was the last assignment, and they actually had just 2 weeks to work to do it, and it worked out fine. I don't think they needed longer than that. A lot of it was just very intuitive for them. Um, one of the I mean, Taylor Swift was kind of useful because of the knowledge that Swift fans have of her oeuvre, you know? But another thing that students played around with was rhythm. And so ChatGPT is able to do rhyme, but it's not able to pick up on, the beats that, a songwriter might use. And so we talked about rhythm as another category for analysis.
So can I say real quick, I know that you said, like I know that you said that ethos, pathos, and logos don't, they don't work as a framework for analyzing. But I think this, like the assignment gives you some really cool space to talk about them. And I think,
Yeah.
like, in particular to think about ethos. So like,
Mhm.
does it matter that these song lyrics, does it matter these song lyrics are generated by an AI? Like, does that make them somehow less artistically credible? And then, like, what makes something good art?
Mhm.
Because I think students are starting to think about those questions. But yeah, I think like this assignment just opens up so many interesting avenues for discussion with them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really, really like this.
Good. Yeah, ethos is an interesting one to talk about.
Well, if no one else has other questions, I really, really like this too. Margaret, thank you so much for agreeing to share this with us.
Thank you.
Sure.
This is
Yeah.
fantastic.
Thanks.
We'll be
Yeah, you're
posting the
welcome.
recording and the link you've shared on the website as well. But yeah, this has been
Okay.
fantastic.
Okay, great. Glad you liked it. It was fun for me too. Nice to see everyone.